Have you ever looked at trash and thought it could never be beautiful? Stay with me, because in this video, you'll see how bottles, jars, stones, and old scraps can turn into garden borders, pergolas, and features you never imagined. Welcome to Revive Nature. This is where creativity meets sustainability. This video explores DIY trash garden ideas with clear timestamps, so you can jump to what inspires you most. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. And if these ideas spark your imagination, I invite you to try them with what you already have, and make them your own. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content is a real story, a real family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe truly matters. When you subscribe, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're helping a dream stay alive. You're giving hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for seeing me. There is something timeless about a garden edged with stone, yet when each stone is kissed with color, the ordinary transforms into poetry. In a tiny backyard, the path no longer feels confined but alive, singing with the hues of painted mosaics. Smooth river stones, once dull and forgotten, awaken beneath a brush of pastel pinks, ocean blues, and sunflower yellows. They settle at the feet of chrysanthemums, their petals golden against the soft blush of asters, while marigolds rise proudly, their fiery orange echoing the painted curves of the stones. The air feels crisper here, a reminder that autumn is kind yet fleeting. Japanese anemones sway gently in the breeze, their pale petals nodding toward the colorful border, as though in approval of this upcycled beauty. The edging is not just decoration, it is a frame, capturing the essence of a garden alive with purpose. Each flower planted behind the stones has a secret role, some attract bees, others ward off mosquitoes, and together they create a natural harmony that feels both crafted and spontaneous. On the patio corner, sedum autumn joy blushes deeper with every cool night, its dusky pink clusters softened by the rainbow tones of the stones below. Nearby, ivy creeps up a rustic wooden fence, a silent witness to the marriage of nature and human imagination. This little sanctuary is proof that even in the smallest spaces, a tiny yard, a front patio, or a narrow side garden, art can bloom when the earth is treated as canvas. It is not about cost, nor grandeur, but the gentle act of giving new life to what once seemed plain. A child might run their fingers along the smooth stones, tracing the swirls of painted vines. A passerby might pause, drawn by the unexpected delight of color at their feet. And the gardener, standing quietly, will smile, because in every painted stone, they see not just recycled material, but a fragment of joy placed deliberately into the soil. This is more than edging. It is a mosaic of memories, a border of dreams, and a gentle invitation to step closer, breathe deeper, and discover beauty where once there was none. There is a quiet poetry in clay. Once used to hold water, grain, or oil, old jars often sit forgotten in corners, their purpose long faded. But in the garden, these vessels find new life. Imagine a rustic fence where every post is not wood, but clay, jar after jar standing in a row, their weathered bodies painted fresh in farmhouse shades. Sage green blends with pale cream, sky blue whispers of calm, and hints of terracotta remain beneath the brush, a reminder of their origin. From within, blooms emerge as though the jars themselves were always meant to cradle life. Marigolds burst like small suns, their orange fire tumbling over the rims. Chrysanthemums glow with soft yellows and pinks, bringing warmth against the cool air of autumn. Asters and Japanese anemones dance higher, delicate petals swaying with the rhythm of the breeze, their colors echoing the painted jars below. Each flower is more than beauty. Some ward off pests, others beckon pollinators, together weaving a tapestry of function and charm. The fence becomes more than a boundary. It is a celebration, a story told in color and clay. As the afternoon sun leans low, its golden light strikes the jars, making their painted surfaces shimmer softly. Shadows stretch long across the small yard, where a pergola draped in ivy offers shade, and a rustic wooden gate waits patiently for visitors. It feels like stepping into a countryside dream, where thrift meets creativity, and where nothing is wasted, only transformed. In the smallest gardens, a narrow patio, a tiny front yard, or even the edge of a backyard path, this clay jar fence turns what is ordinary into wonder. It whispers to passers-by that beauty is not in perfection, but in imagination. That what was once junk can bloom again, brighter and stronger. Children may peek curiously into the jars, spotting bees buzzing among the blossoms. Guests may pause, running their hands across the painted curves, marveling at how humble clay became part of the landscape's rhythm. And the gardener, watching quietly, will feel joy rise, knowing they have created not just a fence, but a living piece of rustic art that turns the garden into a place of timeless delight. At first glance, it is a simple pergola, 4 wooden posts, sturdy beams, a quiet place to rest beneath. Yet, when the roof is woven from recycled plastic bottles, it becomes something extraordinary. Above, the bottles are cut and painted, their translucent surfaces transformed into a rainbow canopy. As the sunlight pours through, it scatters into dazzling hues, painting the garden path below with shifting colors that dance with every breeze. This is not just shade, but magic. Imagine sitting beneath the pergola, a soft wind carrying the scent of chrysanthemums in full bloom. Their golden petals glow warmly under the filtered light, while marigolds flare in orange and red, echoing the fiery streaks above. Asters nod gently, their lavender blossoms blending into the mosaic glow, while Japanese anemones stretch upward, as though drawn to the rainbow sky. Every bottle once belonged to a forgotten corner of life, a drink consumed, its container cast aside. Yet here, repainted and reborn, they offer more than color, they offer story. Each hue tells of creativity, of turning trash into treasure, of seeing possibility where others see only waste. In the evening, when the sun lowers and the light softens, the pergola glows like stained glass. The rainbow canopy catches the last golden rays, wrapping the patio in warmth, while shadows of vines creep across the painted bottles. A rustic bench beneath invites quiet reflection, a moment to listen to the garden symphony, the hum of bees, the rustle of leaves, the laughter of children who marvel at the glowing ceiling above. It is not grandeur that makes this pergola beloved, but its whimsy, its joy. In a tiny yard or small patio, where space feels limited, this recycled rainbow offers a sense of abundance. It does not need vast fields or towering walls, just imagination, patience, and the humble plastic bottles that once cluttered the earth. Now, instead of waste, there is wonder. Instead of emptiness, there is light. The pergola becomes more than a structure, it is a celebration, a reminder that beauty can emerge from the overlooked, and that color has the power to turn even the smallest garden into a dreamscape. A door is more than wood and hinges. It is a passage, a threshold, a promise of something beyond. When old doors are reborn in the garden, they no longer open to rooms but to dreams. Imagine two weathered farmhouse doors, their surfaces painted anew in soft shades of sage green and cream. They rise side by side, crowned with a rustic beam, and together they form an arch that beckons the wanderer forward. Step closer, and you feel the garden change. Asters bloom like soft brushstrokes at the base, their lavender petals catching the morning light. Chrysanthemums, glowing in golden hues, cluster nearby as though to welcome you. Marigolds flare brightly, their orange crowns echoing the warmth of the sun, while Japanese anemones dance like whispers in the breeze. Ivy curls upward, its green tendrils weaving across the doors, softening their edges, blending wood with nature. It is not a grand gateway, but it holds the power of wonder. Children pause before it, curious about what lies beyond. Guests smile, stepping through as if entering a secret world. Even in the smallest of backyards or patios, this arch transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, framing each view as though it were a painting. At dusk, the scene deepens. The wooden panels, once forgotten junk, glow softly in the fading light. The painted floral motifs shimmer faintly, almost like memories etched into the wood. The stone path beyond leads not just to another part of the garden, but into imagination itself. Here, under the arch, one feels the quiet magic of transformation, not just of doors, but of spaces, of moods, of hearts. For the gardener, this creation is a triumph of vision. A door that once stood in silence now speaks through flowers, through color, through the rhythm of vines. It is proof that nothing is truly discarded, only waiting for renewal. In this arch, thrift becomes artistry, and simplicity becomes splendor. And so, the doorway stands, not to shut out, but to invite in. It is a gentle reminder that beauty often comes from the most unexpected places, and that even the humblest doors can open to a garden of endless delight. In the meeting of bamboo and bottle, there is harmony. Bamboo, with its timeless strength, carries the whispers of nature. Bottles, once destined for the bin, now reborn in color and light. Together, they form a border that is not just edging, but a rhythm, a gentle beat that guides the eye along the curves of the garden. Imagine walking into a tiny backyard where the path is lined by alternating bamboo poles and recycled bottles. Each bottle glows with paint, blues that recall the sea, yellows like the sun, greens soft as moss. The bamboo, simple and unpretentious, stands tall beside them, grounding the vibrancy in rustic calm. Behind this border, chrysanthemums open their golden crowns, while marigolds flare in orange brilliance. Their petals brush against the edging, as though grateful for the company. Further along, asters bloom with lavender whispers, and Japanese anemones bow gently in the cool breeze. The bottles catch the sunlight, scattering soft glimmers across the stone path. Autumn leaves drift lazily down, their earthy tones deepening the scene, blending thrift with season. This border does more than divide soil from path. It is a fusion of two worlds, one natural, one man-made, proving that even what is cast aside can find new belonging when touched by imagination. The bamboo brings warmth, a reminder of ancient gardens and farmhouse simplicity. The bottles bring color, playfulness, a shimmer of the unexpected. As evening approaches, the bottles catch the last golden rays, glowing softly against the darkening bamboo. The garden hums with quiet life, bees circle the marigolds, ivy curls along a rustic fence, and sedum autumn joy deepens into dusky pink. The border seems alive, not rigid but fluid, carrying the story of transformation. Guests who wander through this space will pause, marveling at the harmony between humble bamboo and forgotten plastic. Children might run their hands along the edging, curious at its colors and textures. And the gardener will smile, knowing they have crafted not just a functional border, but a living poem, a song of resourcefulness, joy, and care for the earth. Here, in a small garden or patio, trash becomes treasure, and nature embraces its unlikely companion. Together, they make the space not only beautiful, but unforgettable. As dusk settles over the garden, the path begins to glow. Tiny lights flicker to life, cradled within the curves of stones, guiding each step with warmth. What once seemed like simple patio stones are transformed, holding secret lanterns born of thrift and imagination. Each glow is soft, not harsh, like the gentle breath of fireflies scattered across the walkway. The chrysanthemums lining the edges seem to bow toward the light, their golden blooms radiant even as the sun fades. Marigolds catch the last amber rays, their fiery petals blending into the warm glimmers rising from the ground. Asters, in their lavender whispers, lean over the path as though to greet the glow, while Japanese anemones stand like quiet dancers in the evening breeze. These lights are more than decoration, they are guardians of the night garden. Crafted from old jars and fragments, pieced together with care, they remind the wanderer that beauty can emerge from the overlooked. When the cool night air drapes the patio, sedum autumn joy deepens into shades of dusky pink, its blooms casting soft shadows that stretch across the glowing stones. The path curves gently, inviting guests to follow. Each step feels like a journey, though the space is small. There is mystery here, a sense that the stones are leading not just through a garden, but into a story woven of color, light, and quiet wonder. Children laugh as they hop from glow to glow, while visitors pause to marvel at the simple charm of recycled light illuminating their way. Above, a rustic pergola draped in ivy offers shelter. The vines sway gently, their leaves shimmering faintly in the lantern glow. The entire patio becomes a sanctuary, both intimate and enchanting. In the stillness, the hum of crickets blends with the soft light, creating a melody only gardens can play. It is here, in the smallest corners, that magic feels most alive. The stones, once silent, now shine with purpose. The jars, once discarded, now whisper hope. And the garden, framed by flowers and glowing pathways, reminds us that beauty need not be grand, only thoughtful, gentle, and touched by care. This is the gift of the night garden, a path of light, leading not to an end, but to wonder. There is a wild charm in flowers that never fade. Here in the garden, they rise not from soil but from scraps of forgotten metal. Old tools, rusted sheets, and twisted rods once destined for the junk pile have found a new life, cut, shaped, and painted into blossoms that stand proudly among their living companions. In the sunlight, the stakes shimmer with color. Reds flare like poppies, blues hum with calm, and yellows glow like captured sunshine. Each metal bloom tells a story of transformation, of resilience. They stand tall among marigolds and chrysanthemums, their painted petals reflecting the fiery brilliance of the blooms nearby. Real flowers nod gently in the breeze, as though welcoming their eternal siblings. Asters weave their lavender softness around the metal stems, while Japanese anemones sway gracefully, petals brushing against painted steel. The scene is a dance of permanence and fragility, steel and petal, art and life. Together they create a spectacle that delights the eye, an unexpected marriage of junk and joy. Even sedum autumn joy, with its clusters of deepening pink, seems brighter when framed by these whimsical companions. Bees hum between the real flowers, pausing curiously at the painted ones, while sunlight glances off the smooth metal surfaces, scattering playful reflections across the patio stones. For visitors, the stakes bring surprise. From afar, they might seem like blooms caught in eternal spring. Up close, their crafted petals reveal hints of their past lives, the curve of a spoon, the edge of an old hinge, the strength of repurposed rods. It is thrift turned into artistry, proof that even the discarded can shine when touched with vision. At twilight, as the garden softens under golden light, the metal flowers stand steady, glowing faintly as if keeping watch over their fragile neighbors. In a world where seasons shift and blossoms fade, these creations remain, not to replace, but to celebrate the fleeting beauty of nature by giving it a companion that endures. This garden, with its stakes of painted junk metal, whispers a simple truth: beauty is not found in perfection, but in transformation. And when imagination blossoms, even the humblest scrap can bloom brighter than expected. In the garden, a fence often serves as a boundary. But when crafted from bottles and painted with the colors of the sea, it becomes a horizon of waves frozen in time. This is no ordinary fence, it is a seascape, a tide captured in plastic and paint, turning junk into a living artwork. Each bottle tells a fragment of the ocean story. Translucent blues shimmer like shallow waters, teals echo the depth of hidden coves, while whites sparkle like foam cresting on the edge of a wave. Arranged in graceful curves, the bottles rise and fall as if the sea itself were rolling through the backyard. Sunlight filters through them, scattering rippling light across the ground, mimicking the play of waves on a sandy shore. At the base of this fence, blooms take root. Chrysanthemums glow like drops of golden sunlight, their petals catching the ocean hues above. Marigolds burst in fiery orange, their brilliance contrasting the cool blues of the bottles. Asters lean into the breeze, their lavender blossoms swaying like kelp in gentle currents, while Japanese anemones bow gracefully, their pale petals soft as sea foam. Closer still, sedum autumn joy anchors the scene with deep pink clusters, like coral reefs rising from the depths. Bees hum around the blossoms, their wings flashing in the sun, while ivy climbs nearby pergola beams, framing the seascape in rustic greenery. For those who wander here, the fence is more than decoration. It is an escape, a reminder of distant shores, of ocean breezes and endless horizons. In a tiny yard or small patio, it brings the vastness of the sea into the intimacy of the garden. Children might trace the wave shapes with their hands, dreaming of beaches and shells. Guests pause, smiling, enchanted by the marriage of thrift and artistry. At dusk, when the sun dips low, the bottles glow faintly, as though holding the last light of day within their painted skins. The waves seem to move even in stillness, a trick of color and imagination. This fence whispers of transformation, of waste reborn as wonder, of boundaries turned into beauty. And in its curves, the garden itself becomes an ocean, alive with color, bloom, and the promise of endless possibility. There is a song in water that never ceases. In the heart of the garden, a row of humble clay jars becomes a choir, their voices rising as streams trickle gently from one to the next. Once vessels of storage, these jars now carry the rhythm of life itself, reshaped into a farmhouse water feature that whispers calm into every corner of the yard. Painted in soft creams and earthy terracotta, the jars glow warmly under the afternoon sun. Water flows gracefully over their curved surfaces, sparkling as it catches the light, falling with a music as old as rivers. The sound is gentle, a steady heartbeat that fills the garden with peace. Around this cascade, chrysanthemums bloom like golden lanterns, their petals shimmering in the mist. Marigolds flare in fiery orange, their vibrancy amplified by the glistening drops of water. Closer still, asters lean toward the fountain, their lavender blooms mirrored faintly in the rippling surface. Japanese anemones sway nearby, delicate white petals catching droplets that leap playfully from jar to jar. Sedum autumn joy adds its rich tones of dusky pink, a steady anchor at the water's edge. Each flower seems to lean in, drawn to the water's song, their colors deepened by the freshness that surrounds them. The feature is more than decoration, it is sanctuary. A rustic bench placed nearby invites one to sit, to listen, to breathe deeply. Ivy curls along the pergola above, framing the scene with greenery that softens wood and stone alike. Children giggle as they dip fingers into the cascade, marveling at how jars, once silent, now flow with life. Guests pause, enchanted by the blend of artistry and nature, of thrift and beauty. As twilight comes, the jars reflect the last glow of the day, their painted surfaces shimmering like lanterns. The water continues its endless journey, unbothered by the fading light, carrying with it a timeless reminder that beauty does not require perfection, only vision. Here in this farmhouse corner, the garden is not grand, but it is alive. The jars, reborn, sing a melody of renewal. And the water that flows through them carries not only sound, but peace, weaving together flowers, light, and memory into one seamless, eternal stream. In the stillness of a garden, light holds a sacred place. When stones are stacked with care and shaped into lanterns, the garden becomes more than soil and bloom, it becomes a sanctuary. Inspired by the quiet elegance of Japanese tradition, these lanterns, crafted from recycled stone and humble bottle caps, glow softly as twilight falls. By day, they stand as sculptures, their forms simple yet profound. Smooth gray stones rest upon one another, balanced with patience, their surfaces kissed by subtle paint that preserves their natural grace. Around them, chrysanthemums burst with golden light, while marigolds scatter fiery brilliance at their base. Asters lean nearby, their lavender blossoms weaving delicate patterns against the lantern's calm solidity. Japanese anemones, pale and tender, seem almost to bow in reverence, their petals catching the lantern's quiet presence. As evening settles, the lanterns awaken. Hidden lights flicker gently within, spilling a glow that does not dazzle but soothes. The stones seem to breathe, their shadows long and soft across the patio path. Sedum autumn joy deepens into shades of dusky rose, its blooms catching the lantern light like coral under the sea. The bamboo fence whispers in the breeze, while ivy climbs steadily, framing the scene in green serenity. For those who step into this corner, the lanterns offer more than illumination. They guide the spirit as much as the eye, inviting calm, reflection, and presence. In a small yard or patio, space is limited, but with these lanterns, space becomes infinite, a place where time slows, where breath deepens, where one remembers the quiet power of simplicity. Children may see magic here, imagining the lanterns as guardians of the garden, protectors of the flowers that sleep at night. Guests pause, marveling at how discarded stone and bottle caps have been reborn as art, transformed into vessels of peace. And the gardener, watching silently, feels gratitude bloom, knowing they have not just created light, but woven meaning into the fabric of their garden. This is the essence of Japanese inspiration, to to see beauty in restraint, to honor balance, and to transform the ordinary into the sacred. These lanterns, humble and handmade, glow as symbols of renewal, turning a small space into a timeless sanctuary where nature and imagination walk hand in hand.